If you're angry today, I'm here to tell you, be angry. I'm furious. I'm furious that yet more innocent lives were taken by gun violence. I'm furious that their loved ones are forever broken by what took place today. I'm furious that children and their families have been traumatized. I'm furious that this is happening in communities all across Illinois and America. I'm furious because it does not have to be this way. And yet we as a nation, well, we continue to allow this to happen. While we celebrate the 4th of July just once a year, mass shootings have become our weekly, yes, weekly American tradition. There are going to be people who say that today is not the day, that now is not the time to talk about guns. I'm telling you, there is no better day and no better time than right here and right now. And may the memory of those we lost today be a blessing and a call to action.
Yeah, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker there talking about what went down over the weekend in Highland Park. And you know what? The one thing that is noticeable here, at least when it comes to response from politicians, is it used to be taboo to say, let's talk about this right now. And now that's becoming the confrontational word here. Now is the time to talk about this. And you know, before that was abhorrent and wouldn't look out for the victims' families and their mourning period. At least that shifted. We'll see where else changes. But Tammy Duckworth, senator also from Illinois, had more words on this. As you could expect, the pushback from Democrats continues. Let's go.
Recently in the Senate last month proved that bipartisan compromise on gun safety is possible. Today, we have seen that we can't just stop there. We have to do more to keep our communities safe. We have to get rid of assault weapons, high capacity magazines, and so many other additional common sense reforms that wide majorities of Americans are crying out for. And so today I will go home and hug my babies a little tighter in gratefulness that they are safe. But I think about the babies and the families who lost moms and dads and grandparents today. And we must do more. I just listened to the sound of that gunfire from one of the videos that was captured. And let me tell you that the last time I heard a weapon with that capacity firing that rapidly on the 4th of July was Iraq. It was not the United States of America. We can and we should and we will do better.
Of course, Tammy Duckworth, also a veteran who lost limbs fighting in Iraq, talks about what it looked like and sounded like to her in comparison to what she's actually experienced. I think it's something very specific to point out there, so we can understand the nature of these guns that we have in the hands of random folks that want to get their hands on them and go to rooftops and shoot at citizens. The president, of course, spoke on this as well. He had a statement, and I want you guys to pay attention to what was said in this statement because, and figure what you got out of it. Because I'm gonna be a little lighter on him because of this, but first, just the first annoyance when it comes to the approach to this. You heard from Duckworth, you also heard from Pritzker. Here is the president of the United States in a statement. He said, Jill and I are shocked by the senseless gun violence that has yet again brought grief to an American community on this Independence Day. As always, we're grateful for the first responders and law enforcement that are on the scene. Spoken to Pritzker and Mayor Rotering and have offered full support of the federal government to their communities. I also urged federal law enforcement to assist in the urgent search for the shooter. This statement was, of course, put out before he was arrested, and he said he remains at large. Members of the committee should follow guidance. Now jump down to that second, the bottom part here. He said, I recently signed the first major bipartisan gun reform legislation in almost 30 years into law, which includes actions that will save lives. But there's much more work to do, and I'm not going to give up fighting the epidemic of gun violence. Okay, so that whole first paragraph that I didn't even want to finish was a lot of, yeah, we're sorry, we're giving support. I'm thinking of them, I'm sorry. It's normal, it's what politicians do off the top. Then the second part, he decides to talk about, he signed into law this bipartisan gun legislation. He's pointing that out to say, hey, I'm not doing anything what you guys have been saying. I signed into law this whole thing. The Mitch McConnell asked John Cornyn to go in and actually be part of this bipartisan discussion. And then we got a little bit of annoyance from both sides. Let's keep it real. Now, but the last part, when he says, I'm gonna continue this fight, that's usually the write-off. This is my opinion. The write-off that's like, I hope you guys are done talking about this, we're trying to do something. Because I don't think he has the next step plan ready, Brett. I just don't think he does. And I don't know if Pritzker and Tammy Duckworth are going to be fighting from their corners of the political spectrum to try and fight this. But I don't know, man. Maybe I'm losing hope. It's almost like I'm not even that mad anymore, is what's weird. I'm not even
That's
upset.
the worst part, man. It's like, those commercials for air fresheners where like, you've just gone nose blind, man.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They want us to go nose blind to the stink of mass shootings in America. I'd say Biden needs to be a little bit more careful with the language he chooses to describe gun violence in America. He said epidemic, but that's not the right word. Especially, we know what an epidemic is. We know what a pandemic is. This is endemic. This is, it is when something is isolated to a specific region, and it's like a baseline for the problem that you have. And that this is America. It's an endemic disease. It is something that we always have all the time. And that's why you react the way you do, JR, because it's par for the course. It's to be expected. Everybody knew. It sucks the same way that like corporations get their pride flags ready June 1st. Everybody's getting ready for another mass shooting to happen, where the NRA is gonna get ready with their good guys with guns tweets. The Republicans and Democrats frequently are gonna come prepared with their thoughts and prayers tweets. And there's gonna be a bunch of kids who've gone through these shootings at schools, and now families who have gone through more shootings at parades, who are gonna sit there and say, you know what? This is an actual problem that we suffered through, and there are fewer of us alive as a result of it. And it's frustrating that this weird fetishism that the establishment Democrats have for bipartisanship yields these limp reforms that can barely be called reforms, because all you can get right-wing Republican politicians to agree on is like, yeah, I'll put my name on this, and we won't really bring down the overall scourge of gun violence in America. We're just gonna do these half-assed non-reforms. It's sickening.
Do you remember when going into, say, like a convenience store, 7-Eleven, something like that? That's the only time, not only, but those are times people think, oh, kind of watch your back. You never know, people rob these places. It used to be banks even further back in the day. Those are potential places of fear when someone might come with a gun. Now it's everywhere. Hospitals, grocery stores, churches, anywhere that you go. And that's the numbing that you're talking about. And I agree, like I go into a parade route, now you're like,